Hello and welcome to another episode of Mountainside Thoughts here on Heavenward Thinking. Today I'm here again with Mike Basco and we're continuing our journey through the Sermon on the Mount series, and we're starting on Treasures in Heaven, starting in verse 19 of Matthew 6. So I'll read it and we'll get right into our topic today. Do not store up for yourselves treasures on earth, where moths and vermin destroy, and where thieves break in and steal. But store up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where moths and vermin do not destroy, and where thieves do not break in and steal. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. The eye is the lamp of the body. If your eyes are healthy, your whole body will be full of light. But if your eyes are unhealthy, your whole body will be full of darkness. If then the light within you is darkness, how great is that darkness? No one can serve two masters. Either you will hate the one and love the other, or you will be devoted to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve both God and money. So, Mike, as we look at this section, what stands out to you first?
I think what's interesting about this section is Jesus is kind of giving three different teachings in this. He goes, instead of staying with one singular parable or one singular sort of thought, he goes into three different but very important teachings. The first one starting off with storing up treasures on earth, where, like he says, where moths and vermin destroy and where thieves break in and steal. It's like the stuff that you have on earth. It may be a lot of fun, or it might be stuff that you really enjoy, but it's not going to last forever. You can't take it to heaven with you when you die. It's only temporary. And while it may give you temporary happiness, it's not going to give you the joy that you would receive like you do with Jesus. So it's not like our goal should not be to pile up material possessions. We can still enjoy them, and be thankful for them. We can thank God that we have this certain kind of blessing, but it shouldn't be our goal in life is to pile up stuff. Instead, it should be treasure in heaven, as it says, where there aren't thieves that are going to steal our stuff, or nothing's going to erode or wear out. And by storing up treasures in heaven, we're making an investment for our future and in ourselves and in God's kingdom as well. So I think that's really the key of the first couple verses there.
Absolutely. And I think this whole section, as you pointed out, there's these three individual sections in this larger section. But I think the whole thing, we could kind of sum up it all up with, it's about our focus. Where is our focus in life? And I think this is a great example of really what we are all about here at Heavenward Thinking, which is putting our focus heavenward and not on earthly things. And as you pointed out, we have to first, in those first couple verses, it points out, where is our treasure? What are we valuing? Are we making everything about this life on earth and getting all of our treasure and rewards here? Which all of this chapter has been talking about rewards. And if we get rewarded on earth, we're not going to get those rewards in heaven. So this is a great section to point us once again toward our focus being heavenward. And then we get into the second section, which is about the eye is the lamp of the body. I think that also, it's really about our focus. Where is our focus in life? Is it on what is heavenward? Is it on what is godly, what is good? Or is it full of darkness and wickedness and the things of this world? And then in the last couple of verses, it's about serving. One person can't serve two masters. And again, that reminds us of our focus can't be in two different places. It's got to be on one thing. Is it going to be on earth, or is it going to be heavenward? And I think that's a great thing here to kind of sum up all three parts. But as you mentioned, each part is significant in itself. And what do you see in that second part?
I think really Jesus is talking about how important the eye is to the body. The eye really sets the tone for what your body sees and feels, because a lot of the time when you look, you're either looking out and saying, "Oh no, there's something there that I don't want to run into," or you're looking and seeing like, "Oh, there's something exciting. I'm going to be excited and be happy about that," or "Oh, I see something unfortunate is going on." And so that it kind of is the guide for the body. Like Jesus says, it's the lamp of your body. And if your eyes are healthy, then you're working as they should, and it really guides your body in that way. But if your eyes are unhealthy, then you can't see the way that you're supposed to really operate. And as he says, if your eyes are unhealthy, your whole body will be full of darkness. And if you can't see, then you're going to have a hard time getting around without stumbling around and running into things and obstacles that just stand in your way. And it's important to have that light in your body to guide you in that direction. The same can be said of your spiritual life. If you have Jesus as sort of the light of your body, then you can focus on him. But if not, then you're going to have trouble and you're going to trip over stuff or fall into things or run into things because you're not being guided in the right way. And so then your whole body is in darkness. And how great is that darkness?
Absolutely. I think it's so important for us to see when we see these illustrations that Jesus gives throughout the Sermon on the Mount, and even just throughout all of his ministry. He gave all these illustrations using natural things in the world and then having a spiritual meaning. When we look at this about the eye, and we, as you pointed out, we can relate that really easily to our spiritual life. And it's so important that we have Jesus as the light of our life, as the light of our body. We're called to be lights. We're called to be lights, the light of the world, as we talked about in Matthew chapter 5. So we have to have Jesus inside us. We have to have the light. We can't be a light if we don't have the light ourselves. So it's so important for us to have our eyes healthy, to have our spiritual life healthy, to make sure that our focus is right and our focus is on Jesus. If we don't have our focus on Jesus, we're not going to be able to have the light ourselves or share that light with other people. So it's really important that we make sure we're in a healthy spiritual place in life so that we can help those around us get into a healthy spiritual place in life. What do you see then in the last verse there in verse 24?
Well, obviously it says no one can serve two masters. So it's all about where you really put your attention. Either you'll hate the one and love the other, or you'll be devoted to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve both God and money. And this verse, nowhere in this verse does it say that money is evil, or it's the root of the devil, or it's a problem. You just have to show discernment and not only not make money your God, but be thankful to God for what you have and what you have blessings wise. And as a result, you're going to serve God better because you have that blessing that you can use to bless other people. So really, it's about keeping it in perspective and keeping God in the center of your life, and thanking him for what he's given you, and also remember thinking about what you can do with that blessing for God. Like if you have a lot of money, you can give it to people, or you can use it to help out a local church or help out local people or send it overseas with missionaries. And so there's that resource that you can use to further God's kingdom. But if we get real stingy with what we have, or we say like, I have this money, this is a right for me to use this, it's important to me, and I don't care what God tells me to do it. That's when it becomes a problem, because then it's becoming our idol, and we can't have that happen. And it's the same thing with other things, like academics or job, or even family, friends. Like these really good things can still be problems if we let them get out of hand and we don't see God within them, and we don't thank God for them, but that we put them above where he is, and we don't think about that he is the provider of those good things.
Absolutely. And I love how you pointed out how in this passage it's talking about you cannot serve both God and money, but it can be, like you said, so many other things that we put in that place there. We can look at all the kinds of things that we get too attached to in life, and we can substitute that in there for serving money, because not all of us will fall into the trap of serving money instead of God, but certainly all of us fall into a trap of serving something else rather than serving God. So it's so important that when we look at this, we might think, oh, well, we're good there. I don't make a lot of money, or I don't have too much, or I don't have that selfish greed of money, but we have other sins in our life that keep us away from God, that we put above God, and even good things, like you pointed out, like academics and family and friends and stuff like that. So many times we serve those things rather than serving God, and as you talked about, and as this section shows us, we really got to make sure our focus is on Jesus and make sure He is the center of our life, that we're making sure He's in His place, which is the Lord of our life, the one who's in control on the throne of our hearts, and make sure nothing else comes first. So I love how you pointed that out. If you were to give our viewers one last thought today on this section, what would it be?
Like you said, this section, it may look like it's initially unrelated, but there's a reason that it's in that break together. It's all about keeping perspective and making sure that you're in the right headspace when it comes to it, for thinking heavenward, for making sure that your eyes are in a good spot and that they're on Jesus, and that you're not serving something else other than Jesus himself.
Amen. Well, I hope you've been challenged by that this week, and that you will join us next time for another episode as we finish off Matthew chapter 6 on our Sermon on the Mount series. So take this to heart, pray about it, see how you can make sure that your focus is on Jesus and not on the things of this world. Make sure you have that heavenward thinking perspective, and then join us next time for another episode of Mountainside Thoughts here on Heavenward Thinking.